Dr. Jazz.
Thanks for taking the time,
Okay,
man.
like this.
Dr. Jazz.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I have you on so many records.
So please, for the questions, don't go too fast because I have to understand everything's good.
Okay.
And my English is not so good. So
Oh, like I wrote to you, we did it with Dominique, so he survived.
yeah, he told me. Yeah, he told me.
Yeah. So, but I want to start our talk with the last one I heard by you, which is a movie soundtrack, Finis Terrae. And what's the story behind it?
No. Well, it's funny if you, to begin with this story about Finis Terrae because I'm gonna play this program on tomorrow because we're gonna play in Coutances. You know, Coutances called Jazz sous les Pommiers. It's a very important festival here in France, and we're gonna play this program tomorrow. So it's a long story because Finis Terrae, you know, for a long time I wanted to write some music for what we call a ciné-concert. You know, ciné-concert, it means you play on the movie. And I wanted to do it since I did it some years ago with Louis Sclavis.
Mhm.
And with Louis Sclavis, we did it on a movie called Dans la nuit. And I wanted also to do something like this, to write some music, but really to write a score. You know, it's not so much improvised music, but really to write the music for this movie. And I was looking for many years. I was looking for a movie, and it was never what I was looking for, you know. Because, for example, I didn't want a movie too dark, you know, this kind of artificial light, something very dark. Or you know, there is a lot of people who did it for this kind of Murnau movies or this kind of things, and I didn't want to do it. I was looking for something, but it was really difficult for me to find the movie. And one day, I was in Brest, you know, in Brest, in Brittany, and there is what we call the Cinémathèque of Brittany. And I went here just to visit, to see some people and to talk. And on the desk, there was this a box, and it was writing on it. Jean Epstein poem breton, Brittany poetry, you know, because and I discovered all the work of Jean Epstein, the work that he did in Brittany, and in Brittany he did and at the beginning he was in Paris in the studio, you know, he was in the studio, in the cinema studio, and he really get bored, and he was really get bored of this, and he stopped everything, and he wanted to make a new kind of movie with natural light and no comedians but real people, and he came here in Brittany, in Finis Terrae, and you know there is a big island very far from France, from the coast, called Wesson, which is a very I don't know, it's a really hard place, you know, it's really very hard to live here. It's really far away, it's always in between storm and everything and with the elements. And he did this incredible movie called Finis Terrae. And I don't know if you can understand what does it mean, Finis Terrae. You know, it's a
like,
Latin word.
Yeah, Terra is what
the end
soil,
of the
soil, end of the
and
world.
Finis Terrae.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this movie is really incredible, but it's 1 hour and 20 minutes. And so it was why I hesitate at the beginning, because I said maybe it's a little bit too long. And if we want to play in that kind of festival, for example, you never will play for 1 hour and 20 minutes. But anyway, I did it. And as the music was nice, I was really happy about the music. And so we decided to record it. And as we got it, we said, hey, maybe we can also do it without the movie. So now this program exists with the movie and without the movie. and that's why. And the first time we played it in this very famous festival in Austria called Saalfelden, and we did it in Saalfelden without the movie, and we said that's great, so we can do it, and that's why now we play it like a quintet program, you know, and it's only 1 hour program, and without the movie, you know, there is more improvise. Yeah. We improvise more. There is more sort of open sections, you know, and we can really. Do more like we do usually, and that's what I'm very exciting with this project. And the idea was to have a special instrumentation.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, there is this there is some kind of folkloric things, but not only. You know, that means, for example, and there is drums with François Merville. There is Robin Finker on clarinet and saxophone. With who I'm playing in trio a lot. Yep. And there is this incredible bassoon French player called Sophie Bernardo, because I think that the bassoon is really an instrument that I love to play with, but there is not so many people who play this instrument in jazz. And there is this incredible woman. And I met another one from New York. I don't remember her name, but there is a very famous woman playing bassoon in New York. And
yeah, I know who you mean. I know who you mean, but shit. Yeah.
Yes, I met her in the festival in Groningen, and the last time I was in New York, she was playing in roulette, and I wanted to listen to her. Anyway, and there is also in the band an accordion player, but you know the diatonic accordion player, and it's a guy, incredible guy. It's called Yannick Martin. He's coming from Brittany, so he's really coming from the traditional music, but he really can do a lot of old things, you know, like he can really improvise. He can also be completely abstract sometimes. So I think this is really the perfect band for the music I wrote.
Yeah, it's different. I love it. I love the instrumentation, man. Like, because bassoon
and also
incredible.
Yes, and with accordion, you know, there is something special. There is really a link. The tessiture is very close with the bassoon, is very close to the cello, but with this how do you sing reeds, double reed?
Yeah, double reed.
Does it make sense? The double reed. It's like there is something very similar also to the accordion song. There is something very nice, and also I have to say that, you know, Finis Terrae, it's like in Brittany, and I'm half from Paris and from Brittany, and you know, Brittany is like, it's my natural country. That's why, yeah, finally I'm very happy to talk to you today from here, you know, from this place, you know, the sea is like five minutes walking. And this is really my place. It's called, in here, the name of the department of the area is called Finis Terrae. Finis Terrae, you know, it's a region in France called Finis Terrae, which means Finis Terrae, which is the same thing, you know.
Yeah, I love Brittany, man. I was there many years ago, like in Saint Mathieu, and then drove the entire Brest and the entire coast, and I just, it's one of my favorite places on the planet. It's like, it's so rough in the Atlantic, and it's
here so it's really, here it's more like south. Here it's more, I'm more like in south of Brittany here.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
Vincent, how do you compose? I mean, not only for this project, but in general, what's your process when composing, writing music? Do you do it with a cello or computer or keyboard? Like,
good question. Good question, and difficult question, because I don't have any rules. You know, I don't really feel like a real composer, you know. I really got this fantasy of thinking of these people in the plane. You know, sometimes this kind of composer in the plane, like they just take the score with no piano, with nothing, no computer, just take a pencil and just they write and they go. For me, it's like, wow. But that's why I don't really feel like a real composer, because all I'm writing, it's always in the context of a band, or I did a lot with music on movies also, not for animation movies. So honestly, there is really no rules, but I know that I'm not going to write the same thing if I'm doing it on the cello or on the piano. But usually it's cello or piano. I never compose with the computer.
Yeah.
For me, the computer, you know, I have a very old Pro Tools. I have a very old Pro Tools, and I don't want to have a new one. It's just working for what I'm doing. For me, my Pro Tools, it's like a paper book. You know, it's like a paper book when I write something and I put it on Pro Tools, and that's it. And it has to be, and it's very dirty. And I like to cut on process on Pro Tools very bad. I don't care because I don't want to go too deeply in the process of computer. You know what I mean? This computer and plugins and and something that at home looks really like in a studio. For me, it's like a trap. No, I don't know if you say a trap.
Yeah, but
for me, it's like you have to be really careful with when you are a composer with the Pro Tools, because there is some people who really know how to use it. There are sound engineers, there are producers, there are some people with who I love to work, and I don't want to change myself of being this kind of people when I'm at home. No, so at home my Pro Tools is really like, it's like, you know, if some real people from Pro Tools look at me working on Pro Tools, they say, "Oh man, what this guy is doing," you know. But I don't care. That's not why I'm doing Pro Tools. So when I'm composing, I like to compose with the cello, or because it's my instrument, or with the piano. But the first tool that I use to compose is my voice.
Okay.
You know, because I have many compositions that began with the voice, because, you know, I know that, for example, with the cello, I will have a lot of reflex, you know, some fingers things, and this finger thing is going to put me this finger here, and always I'm gonna think, is it exactly what I really want to hear? Or is it just my finger who is going there? So that's why I always like to begin with the voice, because I think that the voice is the closest place to what I really want. You know, I don't know if it's clear, but that's why. For example. I don't know if you know this animation movie called Ernest and Celestine.
Of course I do.
It's a movie that I did the music. It's an animation music.
I
don't know this one. And you know, when it was like 10 years ago when they called me for this, and they say me, okay, you know, this is the story of a little mouse, okay, and she's not so. She's a little bit funny, and she's gonna live with a big bear. I say, okay. And you have to find the melody of the little mouse. Okay. And so just after, you know, I switch off my phone and I say, okay, so what's happened? And I was just singing. And just by singing, I thought, what could be a little mouse with a big bear? And I just sing, pim pong, pim pong, pim pam dong, dim pong. And that's it. and after I went to the piano and I said ping pong, ping pong, ping pong, and that's it. You know, but at the beginning it was a voice. And you know, and that's very important. Many times, you know, I have on my phone, I have plenty of recording, you know, on this application. I don't know the name of this, when you can record your voice. I have many things that I recorded in the street, in my car, in everything, singing. I have an idea, I sing, you know. Sometimes when I have no idea, sometimes I have no idea, and I have to write something, and I'm thinking of what I want. For example, we just did with a trio a new program called Lines for Lions about West Coast jazz. And when I was composing, when I had no ideas, I was going to take a shower, you know, I was going in the bathroom, just taking a shower to find a melody, you know, and I go and I just sing and I find it, you know. And this is the first, because for me, I'm joking, but for me, the more important thing is the melody. And I'm very happy because just this morning, wait a minute, just you know, I'm very happy because just this morning in the newspaper, which is Libération, you know, this is the newspaper. Look at this today.
Oh wow! Oh man, are you kidding me? Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I love Frizzell, man. He's one of my heroes.
I'm just a big fan. For me, this is I think one of my favorite musicians. Still alive. And the guy say in French, he said, une bonne chanson, vous n'êtes jamais fatigué. It means a good song, you never tired about it. You never tired with a good song. And he's always and he's speaking a lot about melodies. And I'm very happy of it because this is really what I think, you know, even if you play some very abstract music, but you always have to think about the melody, even if it's only 3 notes, but you have always even in atonal music, you know, but the melody and the line is always very important. And so that's what I was saying, that I'm always singing. So after, when I have a good melody, after I go to the cello, and and this is what or the piano to find the chords, and that's it. But this is one way. Sometimes also I like to compose more like with explorations. It means, for example, cello exploration. This is another way. I take the cello and I just think, okay, what could I do with a cello with, I don't know, like fourth intervals, for example, with some kind of cello positions. You know, this is more like exploration, and to see what's happened if I'm going to explore some new places in the cello that I never really went, and to see if there is something that can come for a composition. That is another way of doing these kind of things. And and at the very end of all this process, but really at the very end, I'm going to the Pro Tools. But the Pro Tools, you know, it's just if I want to write it, you know, it's just
interesting. But because I wanted to ask you about the importance of melody. I mean, you explained it now, because when I listen to Finis Terrae, it's like it's all these beautiful melodies interlapping, and I love that. And Frizzell, obviously, and Paul Motion, and all these guys, even Ornette Coleman, or it's all about the melody. All these guys, and you know, so it's
For me, you spoke about Ornette Coleman, but for me, Ornette is not. You know, everybody here think, he's the guy of the free music. I think no, he's not. He's not exactly. Really. This is not the first thing. The first thing is some melodies. Some incredible melodies. You know, maybe the nicest melodies. In this interview, Bill Frisell is talking about Monk, you know, and Monk. What is Monk? You ever say, it's a guy of bebop music and the piano and crazy piano, and no, this is the melodies. You can imagine all this melody he wrote. It's just incredible, and they're all very nice. And the melodies that I can ask, if I ask you now to sing to me 10 melodies of Thelonious Monk, you can do it. It's possible. You can do it. It's very easy to do it because there's so many, and you got it in your head. You can imagine how many composers can say that. And you know, for me, that's a problem of the industry of music, and especially if in the movie, in the score of movies that the function of the music more and more is to put a varnish, which it means something, a varnish, something that you put. It's to put some varnish everywhere, but it's not some melodies. Like, you know, some years ago, the great composer like Bernard Herrmann, or I don't know, all these great American guys, or you know, John Williams,
John
or
Williams,
all these guys. You know, they are always some great melodies. John Williams, there is some incredible melodies of this guy, but this maybe the last one. And now there is a lot of guys like, for example, like Desplat. You know, Desplat is, I think Desplat is a great composer, but for me it's impossible to sing one of his melodies. Now, if you ask me, can you sing for me one melodies of Desplat? I say no. I just say no. If you ask for me John Williams, I say, yeah, I can. You know, that's it, you know.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
Interesting.
So, yes, for me, the melody has always been very important. Also, maybe because, you know, maybe also because I'm playing the cello. And, you know, when you play the cello, still, even when you are a kid, the first thing that you play, it's a melodies. Because at the beginning, you know, the cello is supposed to sing something, you know, like everybody say it's like the voice, your human voice. And as it's like this, you always have to play some very nice melodies. And when you grow up, you start in the classical music to play Brahms, for example, to play Tchaikovsky, you know, and every time in this kind of piece, it's the most beautiful melodies are for the cello. So after, when you start to write some music, of course there is some melodies coming.
Yeah, so true. Yeah.
But it's very, very difficult. You know, it's very, very difficult. But I can. But one more time, you know, I remember you were speaking about Finis Terrae. When you know, what I like also when I sing, when I sing and that I recorded, I don't know what I'm doing. There is no analysis or
that's
say,
so
is it a 3/4? Is it 8? Is it a 8 bars form or not? I don't know. And if I'm doing, I remember when I did the Finis Terrae, I did bim bum bim ding dum bum bam bum bim bam bum 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 bim bum 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 bam bum bum bim bim, and that's it. And after I start to write it, I say, oh yeah, it's like this, and there is one bar less, and what's happened, but I don't care. This is really what I had inside.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's so important, because many times if you think it's better, I agree with you. Like many times if I don't think and I start writing, I start to complicate, you know. I write then like an 11/8 and with something. It's still nice, but if you sing it, it's just like whatever. And it's beautiful. And then you write it down, whatever it is, you know. It's like, it's we tend to complicate many times, I think. Don't think if we don't think. So, but Vincent, I wanted to. You mentioned Ornette. We mentioned Ornette Coleman and Bill Frisell, and what got you into improvised music and jazz? When was that moment when you were in Paris that you said like, "Shit, I want to play this music"? How did you get familiar with it, exposed to it?
It was very natural. I don't think that it was a very long process, but it was very natural because, you know, I began the cello, I was 5 or 6. Wow. And I was doing all the classical process music. And I think it was when I was a teenager. I think it's my story is a very common story, you know. It's a lot of people are like me. It means when I was a teenager, I discovered some new music. And you know, in high school, I had some friends. I had some friends who were not real musicians like me. It means they didn't went to the music school, but one day they bought a guitar and a amp, and they start to try to play a riff by the Rolling Stones. And I was looking to this guy, you know, and maybe I was 12 or 13, and I was with my cello trying to practice difficult things, and I said, hey man, this guy just buy a guitar, and the guy play so loud with a amp, and very easily they play a riff, a very nice riff of the Rolling Stones. And I said, wow, that's very nice. I really love this. And And also I start to listen to some other music, and there was in France a very famous in the 80s, a very famous singer, French singer called Jacques Higelin, and this guy in his band as a cello player, and the cello player was not like an orchestra; he was like a soloist, and he had a broken cello because he was playing in a hand with a cello, and he really has the same rule in the role in the band, like if he was the Jimi Hendrix on the cello. You know, it was really the same thing, like a solo, like a guitar solo, but on the cello. And that was really impressive for me, and say, oh, maybe that's possible to do this. The guy name was, you can check on this guy. Now he's dead, but his name was Denis, like Denis Van Eyck. I think he was a Belgian guy, Denis Van Eyck. And it was, for me, the first guy playing really rock and roll on the cello. And that gave me a lot of idea. And then, you know, the story, everybody knows these stories, but I have a grand sister, and my grand sister had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend was really passionate of music, of rock and roll, and he was and my sister was really passionate about him, and he was very passionate about the music, you know, and he was always coming at home, and he was doing some presents for her. He was giving to her some tapes that you record, you know, some tapes, and I always say cassette tapes. I don't know the name. I always say cassette tape. You know, the whole
of course.
Cassette. And he was doing a lot, and so they were together, and I was stolen the cassette, you know, and I was listening in my room, and there was one that I really love. It was a band called the Kings. The Kings. Right. It was a rock band, American rock band called the Kings. And I was listening to it every time, and I really loved it. And one day, I don't know why, I just do something. I took the take, and I said, in the other side. And this day, I listened to something, and I saw, what is this? What is this? I couldn't understand what it was. There was no singer. No singer, it was just music, and it was something, you have to say that it was in the 80s, like 84, 85, and I was thinking, what is this? And for me, it was really music from, I don't know, from another planet. I don't know what it was coming here, and because the beginning was really strong, it was doing, I remember, that's the melody, and then do you know this?
No, don't recognize it now.
It was Mr. Gunn of Weather Report.
Oh,
you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Gunn.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
You
know?
Yeah.
And I said, wow, what is this? You know? And that was the real beginning of something really special. And this guy said, yes, he told me, I told him, what is this? And he told me, it's a kind of jazz. Okay. So I went in a place where I used to rent some LPs. You know, there is this kind of place. Then you go and you rent LPs and you take it back one week after. And so I went there, and I never been in this, you know, there was this little area called this store called Jazz. I never been there. And so for the first time I came in, and I start to, and I remember I saw some covers, like, wow, just with the covers.
Yeah.
And I started to take some LPs without knowing anything about this music, just with the covers. You know, and as I was thinking of this music coming from another planet, the first one I took was a beautiful cover, and now it's still one of my favorite LPs, my favorite music, and it was rocking. Miles Davis, Beaches Blues.
Okay.
With this incredible
Yeah,
cover.
yeah.
It was really something from another planet. I said, what is this, And so, and you can imagine when you are, I don't know, 15, you just go in your room and you just put Beaches Booth for the first time. You say,
Yeah, I
oh,
can imagine
man.
that.
Oh, what's happened there? What is this? What I was doing before, and so, and maybe 2 weeks after, or maybe more, I don't remember. And the same guy came and he gave me another cassette. Hey, take this one. Okay, I took this one, and I was here in Brittany actually, and I wasn't with the bike and with my headphones, with the old Walkman,
Walkman, yeah.
with the Walkman, and I go drive my bike with this, and it was so strong in my head that I had to stop. I couldn't drive anymore, and so I put the bike down and I just sit to listen, and that was Decoy, the Miles Davis album Decoy. This was really the jazz rock period.
With Scofield and Daryl Jones, and
yeah.
It's a
And I
killer album.
with this bass and with Daryl Jones and
yeah.
Man, what is this? It was so strong. And then I came back to all the jazz music, and I remember the same thing with the cover. I took the first my first album of Thelonious Monk because of his it was
face and yeah.
And the other album, like where he's in the basement.
Yeah.
There is this very nice one sitting in a basement with a lot of it's a mess all over where it's playing, And it's begin like this, and after I discovered John Coltrane, and then Ornette Coleman and Eric Dolphy. I remember the first album of Eric Dolphy, and a lot, and I just listened to everything, and I was done with the rock and roll, with the rock music, and I was really complete in jazz, and then I start to try to find a way of playing this music on the cello, and that was not so easy because I had no references. And the only references I had were the violin players, and so at the beginning I started to imitate the violin players, and it was not very nice because it's not working in the same way. It's not the same instrument, On the violin, for example, you can make a scale. You can play a scale without moving.
Yeah.
Just like this, like a guitar player.
Yeah.
And for the cello, it's impossible. Like a bass player, it's impossible. You have to do this, So a lot of things didn't really were not really working. But I practiced a lot, and step by step, I began to find my way of doing this music. Also to write the music that was matching with the cello. And at the beginning in France, there was no cello player. Now there is a lot. Now, if you go in a festival, every three bands, you have a cello player. There is a lot because people understood all the things that you can do with a cello. But when I began, it was not like this. So I had very early to create my band, also to show that you can do this, and I started to be more inspired by the saxophone player, tenor saxophone player, a lot of tenor saxophone player, because it's really close to the cello, and maybe I was listening more to the saxophone player and to the guitar player. That's why I'm a big fan of Frizzle.
Yeah.
Because Bill Frisell with his sound, Bill Frisell is always, there is this sound with a lot of sustain.
Yeah.
And a lot of very long notes. And this is not so far from the cello. There is something close, and that's maybe that's also why his quartet for so many years was with Hank Roberts.
Exactly.
Because there is there is a connection with the cello, with it evident. So that's why I really looked a lot of Bill Frisell was very important, and also the saxophone players. And what I liked with the saxophone player is that when you play saxophone, you have to create each note. You cannot play like I don't know how to say, like geometric things like on a guitar.
Yeah, symmetrical.
And, and that's for me, that's a real way of improvise that was really inspired me a lot. And you know, by mixing all this, and now I'm going like 10 years later, I had the opportunity to play a trio in Germany with Dominique Pifarely, and Dominique was is still a big friend, and when I met him, I was very young. I was like 16 or something like that.
Wow, okay.
But we always keep a connection together, and I had the opportunity. Maybe I was something like 26 or 7 to play a trio with Dominique and Joachim Kuhn.
Oh wow!
You know Joachim Kuhn?
Yeah, I love him. Yeah, beautiful.
And we had this opportunity to make this recording and concerts in Germany for a festival in Baden-Baden. And for me, it's really, there is a before and an after. It's really something's changed here, because for the first time with this band, it's like a chamber music band, you know, and the sound without drums, without bass, you know, and with the music of Joachim, it was a piece that he wrote. And it was really like chamber music, improvised chamber music, I don't know, but a place where I could again play the cello and make the connection between my classical studies, my rock love of music, and the jazz. And you know, this is the first time when I really did the connection. And after this, I really thought that I had something to do special. I had something to do, could be really myself, and stop to try to play jazz like a jazzman with a lot of saxophone phrases that I couldn't play. I can play it, but I won't really use it. Improvise, and I understand that I have to find my own language with all this. And also, I don't know if you feel this in America, but when you are a jazz musician, because yes, I'm a jazz musician. When you are a jazz musician that you live in Europe, you have to understand that you were not. I was not born in the 50s or in the 40s in New York City, or you know, it's something special. No, I was born in 68 in Paris, and of course it's different. And you know, and when you live in Paris, there is so many culture, there is so many things coming from the 19th century, and also for all these composers coming from east of Europe,
everywhere,
and of all these things, and also from France, from Debussy, Ravel, but Debussy, Ravel is coming from Forêt, and Forêt is coming from, you know, it's so big, and you have to integrate this to this music. And I thought, when I was in this same period, when I was playing with Joachim, that there is also an European jazz. There is a kind of a way of doing music, I think, inspired by Bartok, Debussy, Ravel, everything. And I think that there is a lot of American musicians also that were inspired by this, you know. And I remember when I met these musicians later, with all these musicians who I play. I don't know, for example, the saxophone player Ellery Eskelin.
Yeah, sure.
When I was playing with Ellery, he was completely looking of what was happening in Europe, and that's very important, because suddenly there is a real connection, and it's an exchange, and we cannot stay like, you know. For example, when I began, I met a lot of old French musicians that were playing in Paris after the war, with all this thing of American musicians playing jazz club, it was great. it was really great. It was really so important in Paris. But after something else happened, you know, with all this connection between, I don't know, I know that, for example, you know, Michel Portal in France was so important in this music. But Michel Portal had a lot of connection with Henri Texier aussi, and Henri Texier had a lot of connection with Joe Lovano and Paul Motion and all these musicians. And suddenly this is very important, because it said that this music, the jazz music, has to be universal, has to be something all over the planet, connecting the people. It's not coming just from America, or you know, it's coming from everywhere. I think that's very important. I don't know. That's my point of view. I don't know if I answered your question. Maybe more.
No, beautiful, man, beautiful. But Vincent, how did you mentioned Dominique Pifarely, and what was happening in Paris in like late 80s, early 90s when you started? I sense that, you know, I played with Dominique and Bruno, and we talked a little, Chevillon, about that this group of people like you and Dominique and Bruno and Marc Ducret and Sclavis, there was this reinventing of music somehow. Like, what's your view? What was happening, and how did you connect with all these players also on the Paris scene?
Alors, yeah. How to say? You know, I have to say that for me, all these people, like Sclavis, in this generation, you know, is maybe the oldest one. Not Portal and that's it, but after this generation, it's Sclavis, Ducret, Yves Robert, Pifarely, all these guys, they are older than me. You know that? They are older. They're not in the same generation. So when as I told you, when I met Dominique, I was 16, and he was already playing a lot. Huh? And he was, and when I met him, maybe he was close to 30 years old. I don't know, something like this, maybe 25. I don't know. So I was looking to these guys like, wow. For me, it was like the big grand brothers, you know, and I was really, and I remember one time with all these LPs that I listened to Shin by Louis Sclavis, his album Shin. Shin by Louis Sclavis is a very important album for me. Like when I listened to this album, I really thought, oh, there is something special. One more time, it's doing the connection. There is some different forms. You know, it's not only the melody impro and the melody back. You know, there is a lot of there is a dramaturgy of the music, another way of organizing the music, and the melody. Sometimes it's close to traditional music. Sometimes there is something coming from contemporary music, and so this really, for me, all these guys with Sclavis in front gave me. They are really for me like they were like a lighthouse. Like a lighthouse, you know, give the direction. Like they gave me the direction, then to say, okay, you can go there. And so for me, that was very important. And it was really, I really wanted to play with Louis Sclavis, and I thought one day I would really like to play with this guy. And I was, you know, 20, 25, and I would really like to play with this guy, but I felt that was not the good moment, because I was still trying to play jazz like a jazzman, you know. I was really trying to play hard bop on the cello, and I was doing my band, but it was not very clear what I wanted to do. And the funny thing is that after this session with Joachim and Dominique, Joachim Kendrick, just after, everything's changed. It's like if I was ready, and then I don't know how it came. I don't know, but there is this guy called Rabih Abou-Khalil. Rabih Abou-Khalil is a oud player.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, how did you on that project?
Yes.
That's also Yara, and
And because in this festival in Baden-Baden, there is the promoter called Rabih, and he said, "Oh, there is a cello player. Maybe it could be nice playing with you." And a few weeks after, Rabih just called me and said, "Hey guys, there is a concert in 3 days in Zurich." He said there is a concert in Zurich we play in trio with percussion, the oud, and you on the cello. Are you okay? I said, yeah, but what is the music? I send it to you. It's okay. And he sent me to all this thing in 13/8 and everything and I just practice. And I said, okay, and I did it. And with him, I play, I think, 3 years with so many concerts and so many tours in Germany.
Wow. And
in the same period, Dominique, I say to Louis, I have my good friend Vincent. He's playing the cello. Maybe it could be nice. And so, and Sclavis has this big quality that he's able to really trust the people, and so he just trust him, and he said, okay, I call him, and he called me for a session for recording some music for theater, I think. And so I was the first time in studio with Louis Sclavis. And for me, it was really playing with God. It was really like, I say, okay, that's really what I wanted. And the song, immediately, there was something very nice. I sang with the bass clarinet. And just after, he called me and he said, okay, if you want, I'm going to do a new quintet. It's with my trio with François Merville. François Merville was a very old friend of me, because we are the same age. And with Bruno Chevillon. And I say, oh, come on, man, with Bruno. And because Bruno, for me, I think he really inspired me a lot, and there is a lot of things that I'm doing as a cello, particularly on the pizzicato playing, that I really love. And for me, Bruno really discovered a new way of playing bass in a new way of playing the bass in a jazz band, also a new way of playing the working bass, or to not play the working bass, So it really inspired me, and I say, okay, I can do it. And so the quintet was with this trio, with Capozzo on the trumpet, and me on the cello, and the album. And he said to me, yes, and we're going to record an album on ECM. I said, okay, that's good. Everything's good for me. I'm okay. I'm in. Hey, man, I'm in. And so we did this first recording, L'Affrontement des Prétendants.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have to say that it was very funny for me, because I was very happy to be there, but also it was not so easy, because the trio and the relationship between these three guys, François Merville, Bruno Chemillon, and Louis Sclavis, was so strong, and they were so used to play together that to come in, it was not so easy. And I think for the trumpet player, for Jean-Luc, it was different. I think it was more easy because he's really like, he has this place with the trumpet of a soloist. But playing the cello, being like between all the voices, a little bit in the bass, but not only, a lot with the clarinet of contrapoint of clarinet. All this place, it was not so easy, So I did this album, and and I had a lot of frustration, because I felt that it was not so easy to come in, I like also to be in the rhythm session, but it was so strong between Bruno and François. It's not so easy. And that's where I think that's one of the places where Louis Sclavis is so smart, because he had an opportunity to make a tour in France, like, I think it was maybe something like 6 or 7 concerts. And it was with, the first part was his trio, and the second part was another band with Paolo Fresu and Enrico Rava. So it was something very important, a tour in France, like a 2 bands every night. So it was something very important. And Louis, but it was for the trio. And Louis said, he asked me, do you want to do it like trio with me, François Merville, and you? I say, yeah, but you know, and I thought, yes, but man, you have your trio with Bruno, which is so great, and it works so much. Maybe it's more comfortable for you to do this and not to. I said, no, we do this, okay. And so I did this tour in trio with François, and I was really connected to François Merveille and play a lot with him, also the rhythm section. And it was very smart because and we were playing the same repertoire as in the quintet. It was the same tune, you know. And that means that after this, when I came back with the quintet, everything was different.
Yeah.
You know, because I find it a way without Bruno to play this music, and then after when we came back in quintet with Bruno, I think that we found it with Bruno a way of do this kind of big bass with 8 notes, eight with 8 strings, a new way, a special way of thinking. And I always thought about this, you know, to be a leader, to be a real leader like Louis Sclavis, is to say, okay, I don't want to go on something so comfortable. I'm gonna try something, but I think it's gonna be important for the other concerts.
Yes.
And it's funny because and you know, but Bruno was very, very important for me, and I'm very happy because last week, a few days ago, I played with him. We were on tour a lot with Samuel Blazer.
Oh, really? You know, wow. Yeah, sure. Yeah, the trombone player.
Samuel create a new trio with Dominique and I.
Really?
And we just play 10 concerts, and it was very, very nice. And I'm very happy. And I'm very happy to play again with Bruno.
Yeah, beautiful, man. Yeah, I love Bruno. He's such a player. I mean, all of you guys are, you know, so important for me also. I listen to so much to you know, what you guys been doing as band leaders or.
Yes, and the funny thing also is that and 2 weeks ago I was playing with Marc Ducret.
Ooh, okay.
Because Marc is yes, I'm a big fan of Marc, like everybody, of course. And I played with him. I played a trio. There is an album on Enya Records in the I think on Enya I think it was called The Fitting Room.
Fitting Room,
that's with Marc Ducret and Dominique Pifarely. And also I invited him some years ago with my quartet when I had this quartet with Jeanne Adèle.
Yeah.
And Jeanne Adèle, the singer, she was just doing a big concert in the Philharmonie of Paris. It was, I don't know, two or three weeks ago. And she with her trio, and she invited Sarah Murcia on bass, Marc Ducret on guitar, and I, and because she's playing the songbook of Johnny Mitchell.
Okay. Wow, beautiful.
Oh, and it was very nice to be playing this with Marc on the 12 strings guitar.
Wow, man. Okay.
Nice. That's nice.
Wow.
That was really lovely. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love Marc. He's such a player, man. It's Vincent, what's still in the, you know, you mentioned all these concerts you've been doing now already this year. What's still on the schedule for you for the remainder of the year, for the upcoming months? And have you been preparing also something new as a band leader, writing some new music or new projects?
Oh yeah. I think because, you know, it was the screen was stopped a lot of times. So, but I think I understand. I think I understood what you said. You mean what I did this year and what are the new projects?
Yeah. Well, what is still for you planned for the upcoming months, and do you have some new projects coming up?
Oh yeah. Oh, I have this new project called. The title is is a little joke, but I love it. It's called Lines for Lions.
Yeah.
Because you know the story is that it's been now it's been 14 years that I create my trio with the 2 saxophone players. You know, I have a trio with 2 tenor saxophone players, which is Daniel Erdmann, the German players living in France, and Robin Finker.
Finkner, yeah.
And yeah, and for me that was the story is like after my quartet, when my quartet split, I decided to do something really different, and I know that I really love the tenor saxophone, and Daniel Erdmann called me to invite me to play in a new band, and after the first years, I say, oh man, I love the saxophone, the tenor saxophone, and I love the way that he's playing this instrument, and I love the guy, and I have to do something with him. But 2 weeks after, Robin Finker was living in London, and he called me and he said, man, can you be my guest for playing with my band in Vortex? Vortex is a jazz club in London. Can you come in London to play? I say, okay, I go there and the first note I play with Robin Finker, I say, oh man, I love how this guy is playing the saxophone. It's great. I need to do something with this guy. Okay, so what should I do? So I say, maybe that's an idea to do something like very different than what I had before with a voice, with drums, with everything. Just the same instrument in the same range. And so I wrote the first program called Mediums for this trio. And we really discover a new sound of a new combination, more than a new sound, a new combination that I really love and what we all three really loved. And so, and let's continue. And so we did something like a chamber music band with some programs, you know, different repertoire. And sometimes the promoter can call her for one repertoire or the other one.
Yeah.
And that's the way we did. The first one was Mediums. Mediums was about the freaks and all these things strange, because I felt that this trio with a cello and 2 saxophones, there is something freaky. I think there is something a little bit, you know, a bit strange. In Mediums, and after I did Bands Original about the music score of movies. Then I did West.
Yeah.
And after we did A Love of Life, which was a big experience for us because it was inspired by the writing of Jack London. And we recorded the album in Auckland, in the city of Jack London.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
And we did a tour on the West Coast. Yes, we were in Auckland and San Francisco, and we recorded the album there. And the day before the recording, we were in Sonoma, in the state park of Jack London. You know, so it was really something special.
Oh.
Then we did Nothing Else, which is the trio all improvise, you know, and we have a lot of different repertoire, and we still want to play. So we were thinking of a new repertoire, and we thought that we have the sound of this band, of this trio. There is something that remind me and remind us, I don't know where, something from the West Coast jazz. You know, I cannot say what, but this kind of texture of way of being cool, you know, and to play without drums and without bass, and to have this kind of arrangements, this way of find a way of playing the bass and the chords, but without bass, without piano, I don't know. There is something that reminds us the West Coast, and we realize that we all have our different point of view of the West Coast jazz. And so we thought maybe that could be a really good inspiration to do something, to write some music. We don't play West Coast jazz like standards, but we write some music to have a kind of emanations or our feeling of this West Coast jazz. And so this is a new program, and we just did the first concerts 1 month ago.
Beautiful.
And we have we have some concerts coming now for this summer and after. And and so this is going for me to be the new project, and it's very difficult to have the same band for so many years and to continue with the same band with new programs. And as a joke, we decided this new program is called Lines for Lions, but lines with a S and lions with a I, not with a Y. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not writing like the Jerry Mulligan melody. It's something different. Lines for Lions. So this is the new program. And also, what else? I'm doing a lot of. This is very important now. I'm doing a lot of improvised concert also with Éric Maria Couturier. And Éric Maria Couturier is a cello player, and he's coming from the classical music and also a lot from the contemporary music, as is the principal of Ensemble Intercontemporain. L'ensemble intercontemporain, orchestra, by Pierre Boulez. But he's also a great. He's improvises a lot and he's great. And so for me, it's very important to make this connection more and more between contemporary music and jazz and improvised music, and my project is also for me to go more and more in the cello and to practice a lot the cello, to come back a lot and to make the connection between the contemporary music. During the, I don't know if you saw that, but during the lockdown, I recorded some contemporary, an album of 20th centuries composers.
Oh, really? I
have to find that. Berriot.
Oh, no. Oh, wow. Okay. I have to find that.
Oh, you have to find it. Everything is on YouTube, but the album is called East.
It's called East. Yeah. I've read about it. Yeah, I'll write it down. Super.
And on it, there is one piece by Dominique Pifarely, but all the other one is like Enze, Penderecki, Ligeti, Berriot. Yeah, it's all this content. And for me, that was the first step of showing that there is connections, and that's why that's also why Éric Maria Couturier is coming more and more also in improvised music, and so that's what we are doing together, and we create also together with another cello player called Noémie Boutin, which is a very great woman playing cello. And we create something called les ateliers du violoncelle, which is very important for me, but it's more like, it's a kind of, it's an event. It's a very event focused on the cello, and on the transmission and on the next generation. So this is really important for me now, doing this. Yes, this is my next project. Do I have some other next projects coming? Yes, I have a lot. I think next year I will be a lot on tour.
Oh, wow.
On tour with François Cornelou.
Yeah, sure.
François Cornelou, and because there is a new album with a violin player called Jackie Mollard from Brittany. And and I'm playing a lot also with a clarinet player in Amsterdam, a woman called Fee Schouten, and it's more improvised music. And and next year also I will create. So it's gonna ask me a lot of work. I will create I think a kind of cello concerto for a big festival.
Beautiful. Super busy, man. Super busy. Fantastic. Great.
That's bad. Yeah.
Vincent, I'll leave you a nice. What is today? Wednesday morning now, so you can have your coffee. But thanks, man, for sharing these thoughts. I really appreciate it. Beautiful.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
man, okay, fantastic. What I said, is it, can you understand everything?
I understand everything, man. It's beautiful. Fantastic, man. And if you see Dominique or Bruno, please say hi to them. That
of course.
I would love to play again with them.
I haven't seen Dominique for some time. I have to call him. But yes, Bruno, I saw him. Last
say hi to him, please.
Okay, Salamon. So thank you very much.